Hi, boys and girls. Today during Text Talk, we're going to talk about the role of the consumers in the Delano grape boycott. We're going to talk more about Dolores Huerta, who helped to support farm workers and their families. And today we'll talk about how consumers help farm workers get better wages and working conditions. The slides we're going to look at include primary sources from the time period when the grape strike happened. Boys and girls, primary sources are photographs, newspaper articles, posters, and other documents that were created at the time an event happened. We'll gather information from both images and words in the text to think about the impact consumers had on the lives of farm workers. The first image we're going to look at is a map. This map is of the United States, and we're going to be talking about the state that is highlighted in red. In California, the summer is warm and dry, and the winter is rainy. This makes it a perfect place for growing grapes. Many people go to California to find work on farms. So the red part of the map is the state of California. Boys and girls, this is a timeline. It's a timeline that shows events that happened during the Delano grape boycott. The map we looked at before shows us where it happened, and the timeline will show us what and when. So together, they give us an orientation to the events we are learning about. The first point on the timeline happened in 1965. Larry Itliong started the farm workers' strike. Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez joined the strike and organized more farm workers. We know from reading about Dolores Huerta that farm workers were not being treated fairly. Listen as I read this page from the book. The farm workers tell her their troubles. They don't get fresh water. They don't get bathroom breaks. Their hard work is worth more than what they are paid. Friends look out for each other, so Dolores decided to take a stand. Boys and girls, think about that. What was difficult about the farm workers' lives? Exactly. They didn't have fresh water or bathroom breaks while they were working. And their hard work wasn't equal to what they were getting paid. This slide shows a picture of some people from different places. Let's read the caption. Filipino and Mexican farm workers and their allies joined together to picket at the farms. They held signs and chanted their message. Even though they spoke different languages and lived in different communities, these two groups of people joined together to improve all of their lives. Boys and girls, you heard me say the word allies. An ally is someone who supports others. And a picket is when a group of people stand in front of a place they are striking to communicate their message and persuade others to join. A lot of times when people are picketing, you'll see them hold signs that tell why they are picketing, what it is they're trying to achieve. Larry Itliong, Cesar Chavez, and Dolores Huerta were three of the leaders who worked together to improve the lives of farm workers and their families. These three people played a very important part in the grape boycott. Note that the sign Dolores holds, huelga, means strike in Spanish. Many signs were written in Spanish to communicate with the large audience of Spanish-speaking workers and their families. Farm workers and their allies marched from farms to the government's office, many miles away. They wanted state leaders to make laws that would protect workers. We're back to the timeline of the grape boycott, but now there's another date on this. So we have the first date of 1965, and now it says 1968. The consumer boycott of grapes begins. After 3 years of striking, refusing to work until things were more fair for workers, the leaders organized a boycott. Let's keep reading to find out what that word means. I wonder what the word boycott means. So we're going to read to find out. So look at the 3 images I have here. I have a pin that says boycott grapes. I have a newspaper article. It says grape boycott will continue. And then the last one is a picture of people out on strike. Farm workers and their allies asked consumers not to buy grapes from grocery stores so that the grape farm owners would not get any money. They used many different strategies to communicate their messages. What kinds of medium are the organizers using? Look at the picture and answer the question. That's right. They used a button, a newspaper article, and signs or posters. I want you to look at the first image. These children are participating in the grape boycott with their families. The S on the sign refers to the grocery store, Safeway. Now I want you to look at the other slide. Why might the signs that the children held mentioned the children of farm workers? So up there it says, don't buy California grapes. Don't buy California grapes. So 2 of them say that. And then one of them says, every grape you buy keeps a child hungry. So think about that. Why might the signs that the children are holding mention the children of farm workers? Do you think these messages would be convincing to the audience the organizers wanted to reach? Why or why not would they be convincing? So think about that. I want you to think about that. I want you to answer that question. Would these signs be convincing, and why do you think that? Great job. I think they're convincing because they talk about children, and a lot of times when we want to reach people and we talk about how it will affect children, it makes people really think about it because everybody wants to protect and help young people. All right, look at these 2 pictures. One of the pictures is from the book and the on the right, and then the picture on the left is some people that are picketing. Consumers were persuaded. That means that the consumers joined in and they agreed with the signs that the picketers were holding as well as the children. They joined the efforts to change wages and working conditions for farmers. About 80 supporters of the grape boycott picketed the University District Safeway last Saturday in an attempt to force Safeway to stop selling grapes. The picketing was part of a national grape boycott day against Safeway, the largest grocery store chain on the West Coast. Boys and girls, what I just read came from an article from the time of the boycott, and it tells us that the organizers didn't try to convince only consumers in California. They tried to convince the whole nation. When we talk about the whole nation, that means that the boycott happened across the whole country of the United States. Why do you think it was important to picket at the largest grocery stores? Great job. If you lived at the time and you enjoyed eating grapes, what do you think you might have been thinking and feeling when you heard about the boycott? Excellent. Great job, boys and girls. You're right. Sometimes it's hard to make decisions as a consumer. All right. So let's look at this picture of the timeline. So we looked at the first two events, and then the next event, the third event, says 1970. Farm owners agree to fairer wages and better working conditions for farmers. The boycott ends and consumers begin buying grapes again. So by 1970, because of everything that was going on and people boycotting and not buying grapes, the people that owned the farms decided that they would give better working conditions as well as better pay or wages to their people that were harvesting the grapes. And then we go all the way over to the right. It says 2020. Consumers continue to think about the wages and working conditions of workers and to think about their choices to buy or not to buy certain goods. So boys and girls, still to this very day, we as consumers make choices about what we buy and what we don't buy, depending on how we feel about the people that are producing the things that we're getting. For an example, some people might not buy certain merchandise that's made outside of the United States of America because they want to support workers in the United States of America. All right. I want you to think, how did the choices consumers made during the grape boycott impact their communities? So think about that. How did the choice that they made, the consumers, the choice to not buy grapes, how did that impact their community? Great job, boys and girls. Let's look at one last slide. Boys and girls, it says a mural in Delano, California remembers the strike and boycott for fair wages and better working conditions for grape farmers. This mural is not a primary source. It was painted long after the event it described. What do you think this mural might make consumers think about when they see it today? Great job, boys and girls.